I'd like to welcome the panelists who are there on the team with me today. And we shall be all discussing a very interesting topic and which is very relevant for most of us who are sitting here. Predictive analysis and Gen AI for proactive governance. All of us who are sitting here are essentially wanting to have a citizen-centric government here. And so today joining with me is Anurag Yadav, Principal Secretary IT, Electronics Department, Government of Uttar Pradesh, who has done phenomenal work in this field in his state. We have Vice Admiral Sreekumar Nair, who's retired as Vice Admiral, but however now functioning as Managing Director at KELTRON. And of course, me from Maharashtra. Two panelists could not be here with us, but we have with us Ravi Shankar Mishra, who's there from Jharkhand, and Vishwas Khobragade, BPC. So we shall all steer this discussion now. I'd like to have on mic also, madam, if you don't mind, because I'll be sitting there. So we all basically going to talk about the ethical guidelines or the question which is always there in our mind for deploying AI. How shall we steer ourselves? And then how it has democratized us for better access in the local government. I come from Maharashtra, and recently we had heard our Additional Chief Secretary, Rajkumar Devra sir, talking about the state data policy, which is there in the State Data Management Center, which is there in our state. So all governments essentially, whether it's Maharashtra, UP, Jharkhand, or any one of us who's here, we have representatives from Punjab also. Everyone is wanting to go for generative AI and data analytics. So this is something which has become very relevant because not only the state governments, but also from government of India. We find our Prime Minister of our country is wanting to have more and more pro-government policies, pro-people policies. And so I'd just like to ask from Anurag Yadav sir, who's present here from Uttar Pradesh, because in Uttar Pradesh we have found that there are data analytics and policies which are being used for more and more people-centric facilities. So this AI Pragya program, which is there, would like to hear more about it from you, sir, about that. And how is UP government leveraging generative AI to address the challenges, specifically deepfake or misinformation, which is there? What are the things which are being done to challenge, to handle both things? On the one hand, make more people aware and become more citizen-centric. And on the second hand, when we see that AI can also be very destructive, how do we really handle both the things?
Thank you. So AI, Pragya, I'll just briefly say what we are trying to do in state of UP is that, the key objective of AI Pragya has been to enable youth of the state familiarization with AI models, and we partnered with certain, I would say, prominent names in the industry on the AI who have extended their, I would say, a very generous help to us, and we have targeted to do capacity building of 10 lakh of youths in fact, not only youths, but all other segments of the society to familiarize with what AI is and what they can leverage or can use AI for their day-to-day functioning. So that's the primary objective of AI Pragya. And the idea has been because there is too much of talk about AI with a lot of hope, at the same time with a lot of apprehension as well. Yes, the way you suggested that there is technology is always a double-edged sword. The more we are using AI and the experience which we have with COVID of use of technology for many service delivery systems, at the same time with all kind of deep fake and all kind of other I would say cyber crimes coming in picture. So how do you make citizen aware of that, and how do you enable particularly the youth and students to understand what is in store for them in future using AI models? So that has been the objective of AI Pragya in the state. Now coming to the second part of your question or the point which we are trying to understand. See, technology usually in governance is supposed to be primarily 4-5 functions, I would say. And everywhere we find, whether it is state of UP or state of Maharashtra or Jharkhand or Kerala or government of India, it's the next stage of using of technology, basically. So how do you use technology? How do you leverage technology is something which government has been always dealing with. We all know that the history of technology has been usually linked with army and defense. That's the first job which the state does. And AI has been tremendously used. Today it is getting debated and discussed on how AI is enabling all kind of precision in defense or strike in global world. I mean, leave aside what is happening in this part of the reason. But coming to the state's function primarily, I would say, and I'll just briefly touch on those few points and then we can deliberate on that. So the first function is regulatory function, which we do, where we use the word called integrated command and control systems, and most of the states, including the state of UP, have that the concept is evolved with the smart city, and now we are using it. So it is primarily 3 key things has been there: crime control, crowd control, and traffic management, given the size or the density of the population. Second comes the development of infrastructure function. Again, there has been a lot of, and here I'll say what the state of UP is doing. I mean, whatever development infrastructure we use, it all starts with preparing the DPR. And the history of preparing a DPR has been doing physical survey. So if you are going to make a road and you have to decide what is going to be the, how many lanes you are going to create in the road and what is the road width, you do a traffic survey of commercial vehicles. So all those things which has been earlier done by the data collection for preparing your infrastructure project, now today there are language learning models which has been trained and AI is predicting it. It has become much easier. The third part which is there is what we are doing in excise or mining or other places related to revenue maximization. Now, revenue maximization is the key using the AI data, because whether it is GST data or whether it is personal income tax data or whether it is property tax data, till date, government has not been able to use. And if you look at the revenue maximization tools and you will find that the technology has not been such, I would say, great usage when it comes to revenue maximization. But of late, whether it is excise or mining, now probably, and there is a lot of scope with using AI or machine learning data for maximization of revenue. So if you look at a very simple figure for everyone here, I mean, 6% of us in the country are paying tax. Compare this figure with any country which you want to somewhere, I would say, reach or parallel to what you believe. And you will realize how much is yet to do. Whether it is China in terms of size, whether it is developed countries like Scandinavians, or whether it is a similar developing country like Brazil. Number of taxpayers in those countries and number of tax. So tax compliance, revenue maximization, resource efficiency. And finally, social development policies and sustainability. So I'll stop here. I think I've taken much of the time and we can deliberate upon these things probably in course of the discussion. Thank you so much.
So I'd like to now ask Sreekumar Nair, sir, is the MD at KELTRON. KELTRON has been working a lot for the electronics development in Kerala and has a phenomenal name, I think. So how does KELTRON leverage predictive analysis for enhancing proactive governance specifically? Because we've been dealing with a lot of government organizations wanting to use technology which you really develop. And then what are the challenges in integrating AI-driven solutions into governance framework specifically? Because what is all of the people who are here want to look up to you? We had KELTRON in Maharashtra, which really did not take off in the sense that KELTRON has taken off in Kerala. So perhaps we could get some insights into how AI and governance with technology can be driven.
Good afternoon, everybody. You know, before I touch upon this topic which you asked me about KELTRON, I would take forward from what my previous speaker has said about, he touched upon a very interesting part. He said the armed forces uses AI in a big way. While we talk of Gen AI and a lot about AI over the last few years, if you look at AI always existed in the armed forces. Let me put it this way, because if you want to imagine a missile coming to you at 2 Mach speed, that's twice the speed of sound, and you got to predict his future position and engage him at 20 kilometers away from you to ensure that you're not damaged, you need AI in that. So AI always existed in some form. You may call it, the most modern or Gen AI, or whatever we call it today, and it has penetrated into most form of governance and various other things. But the armed forces was always, in this you can call it AI 2, or AI 1, and today is AI 2 or AI 3, or whichever way you do it. I will quote Professor Kamakoti of, IIT Chennai. He says now it's the AI 2. Okay. So coming specifically to what you asked me about, KELTRON, very interesting. KELTRON has realized the importance of, AI in all its functions for providing solutions to the government. That AI is a must tool. How we have gone about, let's take one example of our Safe Kerala project. I am sure most of you would have heard of Safe Kerala project. It's a traffic enforcement system. So we have about 730 odd automatic number plate recognition system cameras spread all over the state of Kerala, wherein you detect the offenses like you're not driving without a seat belt, you're driving without a helmet, you're using a phone on while driving, etc. Collate this data, do certain amount of edge computing, bring it to your data center, analyze, and you can penalize or challenge you can issue. So this is one example, and we are building up considerably on it. Today, for example, you want to see how many pedestrians, you want to count and classify, say how many pedestrians are crossing while the red light is on. You need a tool for that. You need to see whether, somebody is overtaking and a bend wherein you're not supposed to overtake, or there is a lane marking there. You need AI there. So we are at it continuously evolving the AI tools, and we are implementing it today in the city of Nagpur. We are doing the traffic management solutions we are doing there, and we are aggressively building in that. Coming again back to Kerala, yes, our mining systems. Today, we have automated the entire mining process to estimate the volume of, mining that can do from a quarry. So it's a digital platform that we have evolved. We are into digital twins now, so in a big way. And also, it's not just that. It's, we say catching them young. So you need to skill people. So we have a knowledge services group with skills across the state of Kerala. Now we're trying to expand into other states. Skilling on AI, ML, data analytics, and that's very important if tomorrow India has to stay in the forefront of this technology. Thank you so much. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you so much. They just forward the I understand. Yeah. I know someone's other the next question.
Actually, I come from Maharashtra recently. So governments are also realizing, that not only the people who are technically empowered, but the government staff needs to get trained. So we had a very massive 5-day program, Tech Quarry, which was organized by our Additional Chief Secretary, who's the Services GAD Secretary, V. Radha, who was also with Niti Aayog for some time. And she felt that not only the officers, each and every staff. So in the 5-day that we took this major program, we ensured that everyone understood what is AI, they understood what is blockchain, and Karma Yogi app, which now government of India is really emphasizing that all of us should get onto a platform where people get trained. So many government officials might be here. We were at a bare number of 9,000 some time back. And after organizing such programs, people who are getting trained online platform has gone up to more than 9 lakhs. It was that kind of multiplication. So it is very essential that the people who are not aware of technology, who don't understand how to really use it in their lives, like I was in the rural livelihoods mission also, Anurag was there for some time. So we ensured that women were getting financially included. They understood what is skilling. And this was all being done predictively because they wanted to be introduced to marketplace, to, like get finesse, to understand themselves. And today I have with me Ravi Shankar Mishra, who's from Jharkhand, whom we believe to be a state which is really developing, which has a tribal population to a large extent, who really need this kind of skilling to understand what is the AI, what is technology, how you really add it to their growth. So really would like to know from you, Saki, how is the tribal welfare policies, what are the policies and how are tribal people benefiting from this data-driven governance in Jharkhand? And do you really use services like the cloud services which we were discussing about to ensure that these indigenous dialects of the people, what is the local the local greatness of that place is maintained? So along with development, how do you really take technology together?
Johar and very good afternoon. Thank you, ma'am. I belong to the cadre of Jharkhand, which hosts a substantial more than 30%, and it also has significant forest cover, and it's very rich in different kind of minerals. And while, as ma'am was mentioning, a lot has been done in the area of use of technology as well as artificial intelligence in the state of Jharkhand, there is definitely scope for doing a lot more. For example, as Sir had mentioned previously, state's intervention in general happens in instances of market failure. And Sir has already mentioned about two such instances. One was regulation and the other was revenue generation. And there is another such area, which is welfare or protecting the interest of the citizen and investing in those areas where others may not be willing to go because it may not be profitable for them. And the state or the agents of state like us, they venture in these areas without worrying about net profit or net loss as such. What matters for us is the larger interest of the public. And that is where, especially from the point of view of the underprivileged citizen of our country, and that is where I would like to place even the significant amount of indigenous population from our state. Out of no fault of theirs, they still lag behind in accessing and availing many services. And this is because they are living their own traditional lifestyle, and that is again a place where it becomes important for us to devise precision interventions to, on the one hand, protect their interests and also to carve a path on which they can chalk out their own development. And these are some guiding principles for us. For example, the two specific cases where we have been successfully using data analytics and AI would be the sector of health. For example, sickle cell anemia is again a disease which is predominantly found among the tribal population. And to identify them in the category of suspects and carriers, and then also to predict the areas or predict the particular tribes where these diseases are prevalent, and to counsel them that, okay, a carrier should not be marrying someone who is a suspect or a carrier, so that their offsprings are not susceptible to the disease of sickle cell anemia or thalassemia for that matter. So this is one area where we have been working, and we have been able to screen almost 75% of the tribal population of our state. So that's an achievement that has been possible only because of the use of technology and leveraging various forms of AI, where we use data modeling for identifying our areas and the tribal subgroups where these interventions have to be practiced. Then the second area is again the area related to education, where we try to identify those students and those pockets of tribal clusters where the passing percentage or the transition rate is relatively poor, or the learning outcome is not satisfactory. Again, this is an area where we have been helped by Niti Aayog also, because most of our districts are either aspirational districts or they fall in the aspirational blocks, the blocks which are the subunits of the districts. So this is where we try to identify which are the subjects where the students are not passing their examination, be it the secondary or the senior secondary examinations. And again, which are the areas where the transition from primary to middle school or from middle school to senior secondary schools is not happening at the rate at which it is happening at other places. So again, coming back to the question that ma'am posed, for us, it is important to focus upon growth, development, and efficiency. But at the same time, we have to ensure that we do it with equality and equity. And if I have to take an anecdote from Malayali cinema, most of you must have heard about Fahad Fasil's movie, Maheshinte Pratikaram. So the movie conveys very beautifully the message of human emotions at a personal level, and at the same time, the plight of a common man. And that is where, as again, the responsible representatives of the government, we have to ensure that while we leverage the most modern form of technologies, we also take into account their effect upon the most downtrodden or the most underprivileged or the most aspirational person in our society.
This, I really appreciate the thought which has been put by him now. Ravi Shankarji, thank you very much. Specifically, when you talked about, keeping the citizen-centric thought behind developing, specifically because states like Jharkhand or even some parts of Maharashtra, recently we had the Mukhyamantri Maji Ladki Bahin Yojana. I think everyone must have heard and how the government came back to power. This was used in a way, predictive AI was used for generating the data about women who are there, who are below the income group of 250,000. But at the same time, now we are trying to eliminate people who are trying to take advantage of the scheme also. So AI initially can be useful for making people benefit out of the scheme. And at the same time, then we have to devise mechanisms in which we have to really see people not really misusing those schemes. And today we also have people who have come from here for this conference. Vishwas Khobragadeji, who has come from BPCL, handling a company which is talking about, chemical fertilizers or petroleum and things which are so useful to the country, at the same time which can erupt a lot of calamities. Like recently we know the airplane crash which happened, and because of the fuel, it led to a big devastation in our whole country. We were devastated with all the loss which has happened to human life and unpredictably falling onto a building and on. So how does really, one balance both these things, use predictive AI to ensure that the maintenance and operation of technology for fuel and other chemicals and fertilizers, it's a connected industry. How do you really make use of that? And then what is the collaboration you have in your mind, public-private partnership which is there, which can energize the energy sector and how it can be used much better?
Thank you, ma'am, for the question, and thank you for having me here among the distinguished panelists. As I am from the energy sector, we believe data is new oil for us, and that is how we embarked this journey. Although we were, as the fellow panelists said, we were in AI much before, but its journey really kickstart from 2020 during the COVID period. And we deployed the first IIoT things in refinery, Kochi refinery, when we planned to commission our petrochemical project, which is one of the Atmanirbhar project, which we believe, and now it is an import substitution for most of the products in India. Coming back to the question which Madam has asked, one thing is what we deploy for predictive maintenance is based on the value it creates for our organization. For example, we are having some 4,000 rotary equipments in Kochi Refinery. I'll stick to Kochi Refinery, then we'll see about Bharat Petroleum. So among these 5,000 rotary equipments, these are the single machines, and if failure of any of a machine of any of the plant will cause approximately, with the current pricing scenario, a loss of 15 crores. So what we did is we continuously monitor this data, take this data to cloud computing, analyze how the variation of data during the entire operation, and we have a lot of data which has been built up from the past. And this 10-15 years data already fed, and this data helps us to analyze if any this deviation in the machines which is being operated. And also with the SMEs, the subject matter experts, we have developed a lot of tools which will analyze and give the output in terms of what is how is the machine behaving, and how this data is predicting which amount of failure, which area it will fail, whether it is a bearing, whether it is seals, and that is how we can optimize our operation. As we know and we predict when the machine will fail 2 or 3 months later, so we can plan our activities, plan our resources, plan our materials accordingly, and then deploy those things, take a safe shutdown, and prevent losses. That is one part of it. Second part of it is how to mitigate that risk also. So those risks are being mitigated continuously through online measures and through our technical experts. So we are, as you said, PPP, we had 2-3 partners. Actually, BPCL in 2021 has gone up and started one project Ankur to facilitate this all startup. So now it has really taken shape, and 3 of the companies which we have funded, Uptime AI, then Detect Technologies, as well as Maximal, this has become good companies, and they became a big giant in the international and national arena. And the products of these companies we are continuously using. The Detect Technologies, especially to improve safety. As you said, the oil and gas sector is very vulnerable, and it's very hazardous industry. So Detect Technologies uses a lot of IIoT tools as well as predictive analysis for ensuring safety in the organization. Second was Uptime AI, where we use our rotary machines. We predict those changes in the rotary machines and then deploy those AI monitored tools and get the value out of it. And third was Maximal. It's a progress monitoring tool. For example, any project which you are executing, how the project is progressing, where the management has to intervene and take collective actions. These are 3 PPPs project which we have driven, and recently, actually seeing the success of this, we again launched that project Ankur under the umbrella of a foundation, and we will be seeking some minor equity, because after 6 to 10 years we can sell those equity, because we found the startups are doing a very good job. So coming back to predictive maintenance and operational efficiency, actually one thing is maintenance, second thing is the quality predictions also we have deployed extensively in refineries. And these quality predictions actually, if they put 1% of the value change, and it is adding to some, let's say in Kochi Refinery around 15 crores per day, if we deploy those things. So, yes. So when we see across BPCL, the value which we can add is close to 1,000 crores if we predict the yields, if we predict the right quantity of field and draw right quantity of product. As we process some 115 types of different crudes, which has a different quality, different yield pattern. So these things are extensively deployed now, and earlier we have 7 dependent variables. Now with the advent of AI and ML, machine learning and deep learning, we are deploying some 30 dependent variables. So these are able to help us to predict the value very accurately, and avoid losses and transfer of material from one low value-added product to high value-added product.
I just want you to just stay on, because government servants, we always feel that when CSR activity is being done, like so in Maharashtra, we have signed an MOU with IBM or Ratan Tata University, Skill for Women. We are training 10,000 ladies. So as AI, we are discussing generative AI, we're talking about skilling in AI. Would you be interested in training or skilling for AI in any of our states, whether Uttar Pradesh is there, we have Jharkhand specifically, and of course I'm there from Maharashtra, and Kerala is there also on the stage here. So like a lot of CSR activity keeps happening. So really, do you imagine to be in that space where you could probably help any of these states to look at how to steer, specifically states like Jharkhand, when he was talking about that there is a lot of indigenous population or people who need that kind of support. So is it possible to really, look at some activity which can be taken up through BPCL also on that?
We'll look at it, madam. Currently, skill development, BPCL is having one skill development institute in Kochi. And earlier it was funded through all the oil companies, but the next skill development institute which we are bringing up in Kerala, it is funded only by BPCL because we decided to go ahead with that. The only, the new problem statement what you have given, so we will definitely see and look at it whether we can put an AI into it. Currently, we are training people, for example, below diploma holders. So those people whose life they're really downtrodden people, they have been brought in that arena and they have been trained and they have been deployed. And we are happy to say that around 200 people per year we are training, and 95% of them are deployed. And currently we are extending this to the differently abled people also who can, and we started some silent petrol pumps also after this initiative. But definitely we can look at it.
Yeah. So we have Anurag sir with us, and specifically we have talked about health, we've talked about indigenous population, but agriculture is one sector. I feel we recently in Maharashtra launched the Agri Stack and the Agri Stack policy, which is talking about predictive AI for the government to take place, and specifically agriculture is the mainstay of our economy. So I'll just ask that one last question to Anurag sir, whether agriculture is being really taken care of through the AI initiatives in Uttar Pradesh, being such a large state. What do we have to learn from there?
Yeah. So, if you look at agriculture, in fact, I think UP would be one of the states which is done a lot of uses of data. So, I mean, if you look at the story of AI and how economy is linked with this journey of technological intervention, a simple parameter would be looking into agri sector would be what we say the unicorns which has been emerging. And when it comes to agri sector, the story probably has been quite transformative, because there has been a belief that agriculture does not hold potential for growth. There is a limitation. So we have been talking the stages of development and growth has been agriculture, manufacturing, services, and then so on and so forth. But with the technology and with particularly with the potential of AI, you would find that most of the startups which are coming up and they are generating revenue, a lot of, I would say, productivity is happening in the agri sector. And why it is happening is because agri sector has been till date a monopoly of two people primarily. One is the state and another is the farmer. There were no aggregators in agriculture as such. So all the farming activity, it's a very simple, I would say, a straightforward statement where what we are doing in terms of agriculture is that agriculture is an activity where if you see farming as an industry, so this is an industry where the industrialist purchases everything at a retail rate and sells it at a whole price rate. Now, how do you change that? So if you look at a farmer, he purchases everything at a retail price rate. I mean, no other industries will be doing that. Every other industry in economy works on the other way principle, where you buy all your inputs at a wholesale price and you try to sell your goods, your produce at a retail price. But if you look at farmer, he gets everything at a retail price usually, and when it comes to selling his produce, he is selling at a wholesale price. Now, the day we are able to change this dynamics for agriculture, you would be helping agri sector and the farmers and whatever parameters we have for doubling the farmer's income or everything else related to the agriculture productivity. So what we are doing with help of technology, and how companies, I would say, because not only the government, but there is a partnership when it comes to technology, we get a lot of entrepreneurs to work on that. So we have created AgriStack, which is Government of India already focusing on, where you have a lot of data where each farmer's field is mapped on certain key parameters. So now with technology, you are able to know, I would say, you can map each piece of land or each parcel of land, whom it belongs to, what is the productivity of that particular piece of land, what crop is being sown there. Now, once you have that data, you can build up all the models related to what I said, that how to change this paradigm of providing support to the farmer in terms of minimizing the cost of input and maximizing the remunerative price for his produce. So what UP is doing is that we have used satellite maps. We just had in the morning a session with Gujarat on that, related to how live satellite maps which are being procured. So UP has been doing it for last 1 year. We started this journey. The second part where you are trying to, so what happens is that when you use this data and you train the AI, ML, I mean using the tools, what we are training it? We are training it with few things which help in terms of optimizing the resources. So how much water is required? Now, a very simple solution which is there, and it has been already experimented and now we are scaling it up, is that AWS, automatic weather stations, are being placed at a local level now. So further to that, you have sensors which can predict the soil moisture. Now, if a farmer is aware of what is going to be the moisture quality of its soil, he knows when to start his pump for irrigation. Now, if you look at the cost of irrigation, that is being minimized because you are able to issue an advisory. The second, I would say, while the crop is being sown, the second challenge which a farmer faces is the disease. Now earlier we had cure of disease probably once the disease has infested the plant. Now with AI, one has trained the model that with the image, you are aware of what is going to happen with the health of the plant, and you are able to issue an advisory that you can take care of your plant by using such and such measures or such and such pesticide. When it comes to price, it has been very helpful, because now if I am going to procure, say I am whatever ITC or XYZ, whosoever wants to aggregate and procure, till now, because we had this uncertainty of the price, how much yield is going to be there, what is going to be the quality. Now, with the prediction of the acreage and prediction of the yield, one is certain of what quality of the crop I am going to get from which region. So it has taken care of the asymmetry of information from the market, and it is providing a good price. So I believe there is a lot of potential, and already states are doing it, and probably one of the best usage of social sector intervention for AI has been the agri sector, and it has been, I would say, quite transformative journey for agri sector. And I believe in next 1 or 2 years, you will find that the transformation which has been there in agri because of uses of AI, ML would be really remarkable in, I believe, across the country. Thank you.
Thank you. Since time is ticking, I don't know, we have time for one or two questions. It's allowed. Maybe if someone wants to ask, because like states have come all the way. If someone wants to get to know something, any questions, please? I think everyone is like enamored by your presentation. I've understood most of the points, or probably they want to have their lunch. I really don't know. And then anyway, she's very happy that we're ending the program faster.
Right. I have a
Yeah, please.
No, you asked a very pertinent question to BPCL, my co-panelists, that, whether they would like to fund a CSR. I can apply to him for CSR and do, the training in your place. I have a knowledge services group, if that is okay with you.
Great, thank you so much. And I think you must appreciate our panel, which kind of like, completed on time.